The Valley of Hope is a leprosarium established in 1930 to isolate the leprosy patients from the society and also as a base to find medical treatment. The Valley of Hope is located in Sungai Buloh, Malaysia. The site itself is located between two mountains, and that's how it was known as a valley. The leprosy centre served to find a cure for the patients so that they are able to reunite with their families one day, and this leads to a quest of hope for the patients in the settlement. Therefore, the leprosy centre was then known to be the Valley of Hope. There are two proposed sites to construct the VIC. Site A in the inner part of the settlement, while Site B can be seen upon the entrance. To access the Valley of Hope, Jalan Hospital serves as the primary access as it is the only main road that connects the entrance of the settlement. Upon entering the settlement, the secondary circulation naturally leads to Jalan Lembah, where the nurseries are and as crowds gather there for tradings. Along the secondary circulation, there are multiple narrow roads that act as tertiary circulation to access proposed sites. The traffic condition is very straightforward. Sungai Buloh has a smaller crowd in general compared to bigger cities like Kuala Lumpur. The main road A and B, which is primary and secondary circulation, has nursery along the side of the road. There are no specific car park and therefore, vehicles are forced to block part of the road when they stop by to visit the nurseries. This affects the vehicle movement, causing congestion. B can be more congested than A as B has narrower width of road. However, during weekdays, B would be less congested than A as vehicles are not allowed to enter. C is where the newly introduced visitor center is and it's been attracting visitors. Therefore, there's a slight increase in congestion compared to the once non-congested condition. D are the roads further into the macro site where the plantations are. They are mostly accessed by walking or motorcycle since the roads are very narrow and not well maintained. Hence, it is at the very least congested. The Valley of Hope can be accessed by pedestrian through the site. However, there are no pedestrian walkways, which can be very dangerous. Based on the SWOT analysis, the place is very easy to access from every direction. But there are a few weaknesses such as the lack of pedestrian walkway, the lack of zebra crossing and safety sign, there's congestion due to narrow roads, and there's not even a signboard to direct the visitors around the area. There might be business opportunity where food businesses can sell their products to the users around the area. However, the unsafe walkway for users and inconvenience of parking location as users have to park beside the roads creates a threat. By zoning the site, there are plantations, community service, residential, religious and culture, commercial, visitor center and also leprosy medical care zones. The zoning shows that the Valley of Hope is pretty much a self-sustaining community, making their own source of income and also necessary services a community should have. The knots are spread throughout the whole settlement. This shows that the area was very free-flowing for the leprosy patients. They were able to access every corner of the settlement freely and plant an identity for a purpose for themselves anywhere within the settlement. The area around Valley of Hope have been occupied mainly healthcare science-related buildings. The settlement was the first medical institution and have successfully advanced in medical and science. Therefore, healthcare sciences have gathered around the area since the settlement's establishment until today. Looking back at the proposed site, Site A and B, there are existing structures that should be taken in consideration before designing the VIC. For Site A, there are two existing houses that function as showrooms, a tree at the center, and also a tree stump. These structures are to be kept on site. Therefore, the VIC should be adjusted to also respond to the existing structures. For Site B, there's a row of shops occupying almost the entire site. These shops are allowed to be demolished as long as the functions are replaced into the VIC. Therefore, when designing the VIC on this site, the interior spaces are more restricted. Based on SWOT analysis, we can see that there are various activities that can be carried out around the site. The identity and characteristics of the local building is well maintained. Besides, they have its own self-sustaining facilities as a community. However, this will create a heavy traffic due to the increase of human activities around the site. Though the knowledge and history of the site will be spread to the visitors, however, the rapid development might influence the origin of the site context. On the way to Site A, the user will walk through the residential, commercial, and plantation area. This allows the user to experience the lifestyle of the site before entering the VIC. In the site, the user will find shade from the H3. The two heritage cottages would also become the focus of the users as they are the only structure within the boundary. Looking out from Site A, the user would have a view of the abandoned cottages that used to be the ward for leprosy patients. There is also a Hokkien association right next to the site and shop lots at the front of Site A. Site A is a full package when it comes to physical witnessing the life of the leprosy patients and their living conditions at the present. Based on SWOT analysis, Site A is a major attraction location around Sungai Buloh. It has lesser noises as it is located away from the main road. It will be a very suitable location for a weekend lodging, or maybe act as a vacation and relaxing spot for tourists. However, Site A is lack of organization, and future development to the site would affect the existing panoramic scenery. On the way to Site B, the users will walk through the main roads that has views of the existing visitor center as a focus due to its size and the newly renovated element that contrasts itself from the site, such as the lift beside the Pusat Kawalan Kustan Negara. The contrasting elements would affect the user's impression to the site. Within the site, the viewers are limited to the shops run by the local communities and also the main road in front of the site. Walking around the shops, the user can also experience a view from the pathway leading to the back of the shops. Looking out from the site, the user can witness the plantation activities and also the storytelling gathering point beside the Pusat Kawalan Kustan Negara. Based on SWOT analysis, Site B is a good location due to its good accessibilities. There are greenery views of the surrounding as well. Site B has the potential to act as a center point of the community. However, the noise level around Site B is higher and the site is not visible from the outside as it is blocked by the visitor center. Noises within the site are mainly formed by humans and traffic. Majority of the human noises are formed by the crowd around the nurseries along Jalan Lembah where people gather around, especially locals, to buy plantations. Human noises are formed around the visitor center as well, where the history of Sungai Buloh settlement can be found, which would attract many tourists to gather around that area. Traffic noises are focused around the nurseries where cars, lorries, trucks, and motorbikes would gather at the small compound area, which result in traffic congestion. There are also traffic noises upon entering the site through the highway as there is a parking lot right in front of the visitor center. Based on SWOT analysis, the busy street will actually attract crowds. However, this will lead to congested road with many vehicles creating loud traffic noises. Widening the current narrow road might have reduced the traffic congestion and also reduced the traffic noises, but the excess noises will also cause disturbance and inconvenience to the residents. Despite that, poor road planning will also affect the future business opportunities. Valley of Hope, Sungai Buloh is located near the equator, as Malaysia's climate is categorized as equatorial, being hot and humid throughout the year. The highest temperature of the site is 33 degrees Celsius in the afternoon, while the lowest temperature is 23 degrees Celsius at night. Most of the wind comes from the south side of the site. The strength of this climate in the Valley of Hope is that the climate is consistent throughout the whole year. Thus, there are lots of nurseries carried out around the site, as the climate provides sufficient sunlight for plantations. Although this climate maximizes sunlight for plantations, but mostly their hot air coming into the area results in high average temperature, as Malaysia is a hot and humid climate. Besides, the empty land creates the opportunities for a suitable location, high-rises buildings to provide shades for the area. Visitors are encouraged to explore the site for a better understanding, but there are lesser crowds in the afternoon due to the hot weather, which would affect the nursery's businesses. The living conditions of the residents are rather relaxing. Most of the elderly people who prefer not to move to the city live in the old chalets as they are already used to the lifestyle over the time and wouldn't want to adapt to a new environment. They are able to live independently with their self-sustaining plantation businesses. Whereas there are still some leprosy survivors who are still living in the ward and are being taken care by the nurses. The common activity done by the locals are to visit the nurseries as there are large varieties of plantations sold in the nurseries along Jalan Lembah. Most of the tourists would like to visit the visitor centre as there is a rich history about Sungai Buloh settlement that is worth learning and to be understood. As most of the residents are elderly people, many of them would gather around the table in Kong Ping coffee shop to chit-chat during the free time. Furthermore, the gardeners can be seen growing plantations over a big land to be sold later as their source of income. Based on SWOT analysis, we can see that the residents are able to self-sustain with the existing plantation businesses, but there is still a lack of organization as all buildings are seen to be scattered around. The business opportunity as nurseries attract the majority of the crowds. However, future development in Sungai Buloh will eventually affect the existing context of the site.